Name me 10 individuals that lived in the 19th century. Name me 10 individuals that lived in the 18th century. Name me 5 individuals that lived in the 17th century. Name me 5 individuals that lived in the 16th century, in the 15th century. Name me 5 individuals that lived in the 11th and all the centuries that came before the 11th century. I'm not asking you this question to make you look like a fool, but I'm asking you this question to prove to you that the life that we take very serious is temporary, and one day we will pass and be forgotten for good. We will be forgotten just as we forgot all the rich individuals that lived in the 17th century, in the 16th century, in the 15th centuries. We had very great individuals in those times who conquered the world, who reigned and conquered cities, nations, societies. But all these individuals were forgotten. All these individuals, just imagine, a whole century, you can't even recall 5 people. It's like from the year 2000 to the year 2100, forgetting all the individuals that you can't even name 10 of those who lived between that century. And I'll repeat, this is not to make you seem like a fool. This is to show you the fact of life, that the individual lives that we take serious, they are very temporary. And the moment we die, the moment we leave this planet, the moment we leave this earth, the process of us being forgotten, the process of us, the process of us being erased from the history of humankind begins. So it's not a coincidence that you can't recall or remember the individuals who lived in the 18th century, in the 17th centuries, in the 16th century, in the 15th century. Remember, each century is 100 years, and you can't even tell of one individual or 5 individuals that lived between that 100 years. So we can't tell of the famous people of the 14th century, of the 15th century, of the 16th century, of the 17th century. Yet we live in these times trying to make ourselves so famous. Yet we live trying to prove to the world that we are the guys, forgetting that we will pass and be forgotten for good, and be forgotten just as those ancient individuals that lived in all those centuries back were forgotten. We too will be forgotten. 100 years later, 200 years later, me and you will be totally forgotten from that we ever lived. We will be erased from the history of mankind. The individuals that will live 200 years after us, they won't even tell that they lived an individual named you. They won't even be able to remember an individual by your name, or you as a specific individual. So this is to remind us that though we take this our individual lives very serious, let's also remember that our individual lives are very temporary, and they will one day be forgotten. We will one day rest, die, and be forgotten by all the generations that will come after. And we've said just as all the famous individuals, all the individuals that had great titles, great names, were forgotten. In the same way, you and your greatness, you and your properties, you and your wealth will be forgotten for good. Remember, these individuals had their personal lives that they took very serious. Remember, these individuals who lived in all these centuries back had their private lives that they had to be concerned about. Remember, all these individuals that lived in those past centuries that we can't even recall. Remember, those individuals had their personal plans, had things that were keeping them sleepless. They had things that were stressing them. They had things that they were tormenting them. But what do we have right now? They are totally erased from the history of mankind. All their concerns no longer matter to us. All the things that they were giving them sleepless nights are an issue to us. We don't even remember the individuals. So this should be an alarm call that the life we are living is very temporary. In the moment we leave this planet, then the process of us being forgotten begins. And we will be forgotten longer than we lived in this planet. You might live in this planet for 100 years, but you will be forgotten for a million years, forever. The people who lived in the 14th century, if we've already forgotten them, they'll never be remembered again. It's over. The life they lived, the things that worried them, is not of concern to us, and will not be a concern to the future generations. So this should be an alarm call that as we take life very serious, as we take our individual life very serious, let's remember that these lives that we live are very temporary and will be one day be demolished and be forgotten forever. So this is not to say that we should take life as a joke, but it is to tell us that as we take life serious, as we take our personal lives important, let's remember that one day we will have to die, and after that death, we will be erased from the memories of mankind, and we will seem to have never existed. Until next time, peace.